Hello and good morning. I'm Matt Addison. I've got Ben Bocsak alongside me. Welcome to today's daily transfer roundup here on Blood Red. Sadio Mane's moving on, and that means plenty of links with attackers to get stuck into. And there was also a claim about Naby Keita made yesterday, I think in Guinea and in France. So we'll get into that as well and have a bit of a conversation around what all of that means. But Ben, we're going to start with Arnaut Danjuma, who's a player that we've written about a fair few times on Liverpool.com. He's someone that we've spoken about a few times before. And strangely, with this transfer rumour, it's actually come from the man himself. He's been speaking about it. He says he's aware that Liverpool are closely following him. And I suppose it does make a little bit of sense when you see what he's done for Villarreal this season.
Yeah, I mean, even before Villarreal, he had a good season in the Championship. He obviously Liverpool were interested then. His numbers were similar to that of Mane in terms of, I think, we're looking at some key metrics in terms of progressive runs, dribbles per 90, shots per 90, and those kind of things. And he's kind of maintained that form going to Villarreal, and he's even improved, you'd say. And I think one of the key aspects for Liverpool that they will like about him is he's someone who's capable of playing on the left, on the right, and also centrally as well, which he has done for Villarreal this season. So yeah, it's one where I think it kind of makes sense for Liverpool. But again, with all other targets, the question mark is about the price tag and whether it's financially viable for the club.
Yeah, it sort of seems like 45 million is the fee for him. That seems to be what his release clause is. There's been a lot of links with Manchester United as well. I mean, I suppose 45 million isn't that much money to spend, but then you think Villarreal paid, 21 for him last summer? It does feel like one of those where if Liverpool had really wanted him, if they'd have gone for him 12 months ago, they could have got him for half of that or even less.
Yeah, absolutely. That is very unlike Liverpool, I would say, in the transfer business. We tend to get there early and get those signings done before they kind of blow up. It's the opposite with Danjuma, but you'd say in the current market, if he is available around 45 million, it's still not a bad deal compared to some of the other targets like the likes of Darwin Núñez, who's being touted around for significantly more. So it's still not. It wouldn't be a bad deal for Liverpool, I think.
You mentioned before about him being able to play kind of left, right, through the middle. Is that something that you think is important for Liverpool this summer? Obviously, Sadio Mane has been able to do that. Diogo Jota can do that. We've even seen Luis Diaz do that. He was one who tended to play exclusively off the left for Porto, but we've already seen him in all three positions for Liverpool. Is that the kind of player that you'd expect Liverpool to go for this summer, or do you think there could be a bit of a switch up? Could it be someone that is a bit more of a fixed central player?
I think Liverpool will go for versatility. I don't think they will go for someone who isn't like someone they already have. Like we've seen it with every single attacker that they've signed so far. They've all had very hybrid roles, except perhaps for Mohamed Salah, who has played predominantly or almost exclusively on the right wing. But other than that, I think Jurgen Klopp's like those versatile attackers, and I think it will be the same this summer. I can see why people would want him to change, but I can't see Liverpool's policy changing.
Yeah, absolutely. Arnaut Danjuma then wanted to keep an eye on lots of teams, I'm sure, having a look at him. Let's move a little bit further back, and Calvin Ramsay is the next one we're going to talk about. He's someone that we know Liverpool have been taking a look at. They have monitored him, as of a lot of clubs around Europe, but the latest reports coming out yesterday, I think it was The Athletic reporting that Leeds United expect him to move to Liverpool now this summer. And again, that's no real surprise that the comparison has been made plenty of times between him and Trent Alexander-Arnold. And that's exactly what Liverpool need, isn't it? If Nico Williams does move on this summer, you need someone who can kind of do that Trent backup role in a similar way to what Trent can. And it doesn't seem like Calvin Ramsay would be a bad shout for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone I flagged up as someone very similar to Trent all the way back in September last year for Liverpool.com, and he's only gone and improved since then. And he's looked really good in Scottish top flight. He played a few European games as well in the Conference League during the qualifiers for Aberdeen. And yeah, he just looks the part. He's still extremely young, and I think he himself said it that he looks up to Trent and he watches his games. So Liverpool will like that about him as well. And I think yeah, it just seems like the perfect transfer for Liverpool.
Yeah, it's about that style, isn't it? We've seen Joe Gomez, we've seen James Milner play there at certain times, but neither of them are particularly natural at it. I suppose Joe Gomez did pretty well on the occasions that he had to play there, and it wasn't horrendous to have him there. But to have a backup player who's kind of that same mould, I think is really important. But we've said it so many times, haven't we? It's so hard to find someone that is like Trent. It almost feels like Calvin Ramsay is the only one out there. There's not really too many others that you would say do that right back role in the same way as what Trent does.
Yeah, it's very rare that you would see a right back like that, or even a right back of the same quality, of the same output, and the same sort of attacking threat. And I think one of the biggest traits about Ramsay is his crossing ability. He's got a very unique crossing style, kind of similar to Trent, and I think that was probably one of the biggest appeals for Liverpool in terms of his ability in set pieces and from open play to cross the ball and to deliver like similarly to Trent, but also kind of unique as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely one to keep an eye on. Probably a lot more likely to happen than lots of the other links this summer, to say the very least. So we'll, of course, keep you updated on the channel across all of that. But let's finish then with Naby Keita. There was a claim from a couple of different places yesterday around PSG and potential interest from them. 42 million was the price tag, which is about 50 million euros, isn't it? So I suppose at that price, you would probably sell him. But I suppose that the other thing that we have to mention is that the Echo has looked into this, and Liverpool kind of laughing it off. They're not particularly thinking that this is too serious. It did seem a little bit too high a price, didn't it, for PSG to be interested at that much, just simply because he's only got 12 months left on his contract.
Yeah, it seemed a bit too good to be true. I mean, I know the Guinean media are reporting on it and the French media as well, but 50 million euros for a player who's only got, like you said, a year left on his contract, it just feels, yeah, like I said, too good to be true. I think if that was the case, Liverpool would probably snap their hands off and, invest that money else into another midfielder, because they have struggled with Keita. But at the same time, I think Keita has improved significantly in the last year. Liverpool will want to keep him around and potentially extend him for another couple of years.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It's obviously a big decision to be made this summer. If you do sell him, it's kind of another thing to put on the ever-growing list of to do this summer. If you don't sell him, it's probably going to have to be a new contract, isn't it? I suppose that's the next question. Really, is would you give him a new contract? Do you think he's done enough in the last few weeks? Well, last few months, isn't it? Now that he's stayed fit, has he done enough? Do you think to warrant getting another contract?
It's a tough one. I think would it not be the case that Liverpool have so many other midfielders potentially on their way out, like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, James Milner, I would think about it. But given the situation around the club, I think you kind of just have to extend Keita's contract, and there's that, because then you're looking at investing in the market again, and surely extending Keita's contract is the cheaper alternative solution.
Yeah, certainly would have thought so. It'd be an interesting one to see what they do, obviously, in the transfer market, but also in terms of those contracts. Naby Keita, one of, I think, 4 or 5 players, isn't he, that's expiring in 2023. So that shall be one to watch for sure. Plenty more rumours, I'm sure, to come our way as well. We'll have all the latest on all of those, all the analysis over on Liverpool.com as well. I'm sure we'll be talking about the speculation around Mohamed Salah's contract as well, a story coming out this morning that he would be open to moving to another Premier League club this summer. Again, we'll be analysing and talking about that, I'm sure, again, a lot over the next few weeks. But that will just about do us for today. I think that's just about all we've got time for. Thanks to Ben for joining me. Thanks to you at home for watching and listening along too. We'll see you very soon.